Hello everyone, welcome to this video on reserved words in Python. Reserved words, also known as keywords, are the building blocks of Python syntax, defining the structure and flow of your programs. In this video, we'll explore what reserved words are, their significance, and the common mistakes to avoid when working with them. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of how to use these keywords effectively and write error-free Python code. Let's get started. Introduction. In Python, reserved words or keywords are predefined words with specific meanings used to define the structure and logic of programs. Examples include if, else, while, for, class, and def, which are used for creating conditions, loops, classes, and functions. These words cannot be used as identifiers for variables, functions, or classes as they have reserved purposes. For instance, naming a variable if or class will result in a syntax error. This ensures clarity and consistency in Python programs, as each reserved word serves a unique function. Being familiar with reserved words helps you avoid errors and choose alternative, meaningful names for your identifiers. Understanding their role is essential for writing valid and maintainable Python code. List of reserved words in Python. Python has a fixed set of reserved words, also known as keywords, which are integral to the language's syntax. These keywords are predefined and have specific meanings, making them essential for defining the structure and behavior of Python programs. Examples of commonly used reserved words include if, else, for, while, class, and def. These words are used for creating conditions, loops, classes, functions, and more. In addition to these, Python includes keywords like true, false, and none, which are used to represent Boolean values and the absence of a value, respectively. Logical operators like and, or, and not, as well as exception handling keywords such as try, except, and finally are also part of Python's keyword set. You can view the complete list of reserved keywords in Python by using the keyword module. Running the code print keyword.colist will display all the reserved words in the current Python version. This list remains consistent within each version of Python, ensuring that these keywords cannot be used as identifiers for variables, functions, or classes. Familiarizing yourself with these reserved words is essential for avoiding syntax errors and writing clear, error-free code. By understanding their usage, you can make the most of Python's robust features while maintaining clarity and consistency in your programs. Using reserved words. Reserved words in Python are predefined terms that serve specific purposes in the language, forming the foundation of its syntax. Each reserved word is associated with a particular function or structure, making them essential for writing Python programs. For example, if, else, and elif are used to define conditional statements, allowing your program to make decisions based on given conditions. Similarly, for and while are used to create loops for repeating tasks, while class and def are used to define classes and functions, enabling object-oriented and modular programming. Another important reserved word is import, which is used to include external modules or libraries in your program, extending its functionality. For instance, the math module can be imported to perform advanced mathematical operations. An example of reserved word usage in Python is if true print. This is a reserved word example. Here, if is a reserved word that initiates a conditional statement. It checks whether the condition true is satisfied and executes the indented block of code if the condition is met. Understanding the specific roles of reserved words is crucial for leveraging Python's capabilities effectively. By using these keywords appropriately, you can write clear, structured, and functional code while avoiding syntax errors. Reserved words are integral to Python programming, and mastering their usage is key to building efficient and maintainable programs. What happens if you use reserved words as identifiers? In Python, reserved words, also known as keywords, have predefined meanings and are essential for the language's syntax. These words cannot be used as identifiers such as variable names, function names, or class names. If you attempt to use a reserved word as an identifier, Python will throw a syntax error. This error occurs because Python cannot interpret the reserved word in a way that aligns with its intended functionality. For example, trying to assign a value to class with class 5 will result in a syntax error as class is reserved for defining classes in Python. Similarly, using if 10 will cause an error as if is reserved for conditional statements. These keywords are strictly reserved to maintain consistency and clarity in Python programs, ensuring that the code remains unambiguous. To avoid such errors, it's important to use meaningful and unique names for your identifiers that do not conflict with reserved words. Understanding the role of these keywords and their reserved nature helps ensure that your Python programs are valid and functional while maintaining the readability and integrity of your code. Practice examples. Understanding the correct use of reserved words in Python is essential to avoid errors in your code. Reserved words have predefined meanings and cannot be used as identifiers, such as variable names, function names, or class names. For example, using a valid identifier like number 5 and then printing its value with print number works perfectly fine. Here, number is a valid name because it does not clash with any of Python's reserved keywords and the program executes without issues. On the other hand, attempting to use reserved words as identifiers results in a syntax error. For instance, assigning a value to return with return 10 will throw an error because return is a keyword specifically used to exit a function and optionally return a value. Similarly, trying to use try reserved will also fail because try is reserved for exception handling. These examples demonstrate that Python strictly enforces the use of reserved words for their intended purposes. To ensure your code runs smoothly, always choose unique and descriptive names for your variables and other identifiers. Avoid using reserved words as identifiers, as doing so can make your code invalid and difficult to debug. Practicing with such examples helps reinforce these rules and builds confidence in writing error-free Python programs. Best practices. To write clean and error-free Python code, it is essential to follow best practices for naming identifiers. One crucial rule is to avoid using reserved words, also known as keywords, as variable or function names. These words have predefined meanings in Python syntax, and using them for other purposes will result in errors. For example, trying to assign a value to if or class as a variable name will cause a syntax error, as these are reserved for specific functionalities in Python. Another important best practice is to use descriptive names for identifiers. Meaningful names such as total underscore amount or user underscore name immediately convey the purpose of the variable or function, making your code more readable and easier to maintain. Descriptive names reduce ambiguity and help both you and others understand the code without needing excessive comments. Finally, it's a good habit to refer to Python's list of reserved keywords before naming variables or functions. This ensures you don't accidentally use a reserved word and helps you adhere to Python's naming conventions. By following these practices, you can create code that is not only functional but also professional, readable, and maintainable in the long run. Key takeaways. Reserved words are a fundamental part of Python syntax, serving specific and predefined purposes within the language. These words, such as if, else, for, and class, are essential for creating the structure and logic of your programs. Misusing reserved words, such as attempting to use them as variable or function names, will result in a syntax error because Python strictly enforces their intended roles. To avoid errors and write valid code, It's important to familiarize yourself with Python's reserved keywords and understand how they are used. Practicing by writing small programs that incorporate these keywords, such as using if for conditions or for loops, will help you gain confidence in their correct usage. Over time, this practice will reinforce your understanding of Python syntax and improve your ability to write efficient, error free programs. By recognizing the significance of reserved words and adhering to their proper use, you can create well structured, readable, and professional Python code. These foundational concepts are critical for both beginners and experienced programmers working in Python. That's it for this video on reserved words in Python. We've covered what reserved words are, why they're important, and how to avoid misusing them in your code. Remember, understanding and practicing the correct usage of these keywords is essential for writing clear and efficient Python programs. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Python tutorials. Thanks for watching and happy coding.